Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for a poetry discussion, which will take place in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, but number two, a poem by poem read along for Sylvia Plath's big yellow book, The Collected Poems. I will take a moment to apologize for my appearance very quickly. So here's what my average day looks like right now. Not that you care. I feel compulsively the need to apologize. I wake up around 7:30. I get to work around 9 p.m. Wake up at 7:30 p.m. Work at 9 p.m. Off at 5:30 a.m. I go to Starbucks for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Work on some writing, some of this stuff, other stuff if I have to do it. Then I go to the park where I get between 6 and 10 miles, as well as a few lifts in between the miles. There's some jungle gym type equipment, so it is possible to work in between sets, dips, rows, sit ups, jumping jacks, push ups, these sort of things. 90 degrees today. So I do that, then I come home and make these videos. So I apologize, but we are here for a poetry discussion nonetheless. Um, by the way, when I do that, uphill both ways, just so you know, in the snow and the 90-degree heat in the same day. That is how it works. I am a crotchety old man. Song for a Summer's Day from Sylvia Plath, and it reads as such. Through fen and farmland, walking with my own country love, I saw slow flocked cows move, white hulks on their days cruising, sweet grass sprang for their grazing. The air was bright for looking, most far in blue aloft, clouds steered a burnished drift, larks nip and tuck arising, came in for my love's praising. Sheen of the noon sun striking took my heart as if it were a green tipped leaf kindled by my love's pleasing into an ardent blazing. And so, together talking through Sunday's honey air, we walked and still walk there out of the sun's bruising till the night mists came rising. So, one thing I want to talk about just real quick. Early in this series, we talked about a lot of the words that keep coming up. This word comes up and comes up and comes up. And the rooks, for example, kept coming up in different poems. And, you know, that happens with poets where they find these. It's like, I think, because I'm not one of these minds, right? I'm not Sylvia Plath. I'm not Emily Dickinson. I'm not Shakespeare. But it seems, from a reader's perspective, that what ends up happening is these hemi-charged minds get to going and they find tools that they can use to describe things. And there are some words that are wrenches, there are some words that are hammers, there's some words that are nails. There's all these words are used to convey ideas. But if they keep coming back to the same ideas and they found the hammer to drive home the idea, then it makes sense to keep using that word. One of the words that keeps coming up recently, and we are here on, is this 11? Is this the 11th poem from Sylvia Plath? They're numbered in here, which is pretty, this is 12. One word that is coming up lately for Sylvia Plath is the word thin. And it seems to me that, so fen, by definition, if you just Google it, a low and marshy or frequently flooded area of land. It is an area full of peaty soil, Peaty. It seems that this is coming to be a point of emphasis for Sylvia Plath, an interesting idea to her, an interesting place to her. Now, why might that be? A low and marshy or frequently flooded area of land, PT soil. I think that one of the reasons that this keeps coming up, I think that uh, one of the ways that this is interesting to Sylvia Plath in these poems is that it is sort of messy, right? It could be beautiful if you're taking into account the entire landscape. It can be beautiful, but it's messy. It is unclear. There is land there, but we don't know quite where the land is. It's somewhere under that water. Um, Marshland is difficult. It is treacherous to go through. There is mystery. There's an ever present sense, maybe, of some type of danger. Is it dangerous? We don't know. What's under that water? Above the land, under the water? So I think that is part of what is appealing to Sylvia Plath in this speech so far. But also, boy, it's kind of a fun word. Fen. Through fen and farmland walking, with my own country love, I saw slow flocked cows move. One of the things that is interesting with Sylvia Plath thus far is if you can, if you can find a rhythm, then you got to go with it. Because I'm going to be honest with you. So if I thought that Sylvia Plath before partaking in this journey was difficult, that common day that I just told you, where I get up, work 8 hours of overnight, at work for 8.5 hours, then I go read and do my studies, and then I go, slog out 6 to 10 miles. Doing this after that, Sylvia Plath is almost incomprehensible. And the rhythms, if you can find them in the poems, and it seems they're always there, you've just got to find them. They carry you along with most, as is with most poetry, right? But Sylvia Plath, and maybe I'm wrong, seems to generate the rhythms at will, and they don't have to abide by anything. It's just sort of like Christopher Walken. Through fen and farmland walking, with my own country love, I saw a slow flock cows move, white oaks on their days cruising, right? Something like that. But if you take this poem at whole into account, there is a sense of awe here. There is a sense of awe, obviously, for the nature, right? But this nature all seems to be subservient to her love. Not that it is subservient to the whims of how she, or our speaker, loves, but subservient to the individual that is her love. But the awe here does not stop with the nature. It extends to her love. It extends because her love is the one who seems to be controlling the nature, breaking the nature, cutting away the chaos and forcing some type of order, right? And so this could be another reason that the fen is sort of appealing to Sylvia Plath, to our speaker, I should say, because, well, no, it's in the. I would argue that's the author, not the speaker, because the author is the intent behind the poem. The speaker is the person present in the poem. But whatever is the case, the fen, I think it might be contributing to the sort of re-emergent property of the fen. The reason the fen keeps coming up is because despite her love's the speaker's loves controlling the nature, the fin remains mysterious. And in this way, we have the merging of our speaker's love, the individual of our speaker's love, as well as nature, because the awe is present for both. Let me think of how I want to say this. I don't want to ruin this wrong. So, because these things fuse into one in some overarching grand majesty of awe, it is interesting to see something happening at the very beginning of this poem. Remember, this poem is setting up this awe. The air was bright, for looking most far in blue, aloft clouds steered a burnished drift. So much awe in this poem that it's possible to cruise right past these two lines here, which sort of, well, I made that Irish for some reason, but which make this really a poem about our speaker's control. Through Finn, which is the mysterious swampy marshland, and farmland walking with my own country love. This is individuation. We have Finn and my own. The Finn represents maybe the natural part of our speaker that is mysterious and still untamed, perhaps untamable. My own country love. This is claiming the self. Sort of. Nature is seemingly not our speaker's domain. We can kind of intuit this from all of the awe present, where it's difficult to see awe in the world that surrounds you, which makes it seem like the natural part of this world is foreign to our speaker. If you doubt that, wake up some morning, look around your house, your apartment, and try to make it sound majestic as our speaker makes all of this naturing sound. And it's sort of, it's really authentic, because what we do have, Finn represents, I think, our speaker. Farmland would represent, let me see, find a good color. Farmland and country would sort of then represent the love, right? Farmland is the natural order broken and put to work. Country is that same land. You call it country whether it's broken or not. It just depends on where you live. It's your country. So we have here the merging of these two worlds, the Finn and farmland. The Finn representing the speaker, the farmland representing the love, my own representing the speaker, country representing the love. And this is interesting because this is authentic, because what it represents is the speaker imitating We imitate before we actualize. If you have been, so children imitate their parents. Artists, when they are beginning, imitate so how many writers start off writing bad Hemingway stories, start off writing today bad Chuck Palahniuk stories, etc. Even Chuck Palahniuk, I might be dating myself, right? But this is true in every sort of relationship. Every relationship in which we find ourselves where we are somewhat intrigued by the other half of that relationship, we will imitate the things about that person that we find desirable until we form our own voice with it. I am a writer. I want to write stories. Hemingway writes stories that I like. I try to write Hemingway stories until I find my own voice. Here we have this speaker falling into the world of the lover, falling into, I'm going to use her for clarity's sake, falling into her lover's world, finding the world itself majestic, and then carving out little pieces to make her own. Now that I have the fin, now that that marshy swampland is mine, I'm going to make it my own. Right? That is, I think, part of what is going on in this poem. That is all I have for this poetry discussion song for a summer's day, the 12th in a 274-part series. There's only 262 poems left to go. Whatever will we do in each other's absence? So that is all I have for this. If you enjoy what I do here, hitting the like button really helps me out here on the channel. It tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for more. There is poetry every Monday on the channel. There are also short story read-alongs. We're going through Dubliners right now by James Joyce, going through No Longer Human right now as a novel read-along. But yeah, stick around for more because I would love to have you back for the next one.